Well, good afternoon, everybody. I am busy working on much for the First Peoples going forward, but I must, as I stated, I would do lives in regards to breaking news. And this is breaking. You will see it in the media in the hours to come. You will see it on the news tonight. I have party insiders from CPC. I have people all over the place. I'm into geopolitics. You're going to have that. I'm going to give it that minute to let people log on. I'm going to make statements clearly where CPC is going as a party, what's coming forward, what's been published, what's in writing, and where the Conservative Party of Canada is going. Everybody, if you don't know yet, you will learn in literally the hours to come, as I just got off the phone with CPC insiders. I'm just going to say that. I have many all over the place, especially from Alberta. I'm not going to say which MPs. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep the anonymity. Erin OToole, in large majority, everybody, majority of Conservative MPs have voted Erin gone. Pierre Poilievre is slated up for INTERM. Whether he's going to get that, we're going to see that develop, but that is what has been discussed. The vote against Erin OToole went through. It was way more than a majority, meaning that 1/3. In reality, it was more, almost 2/3. This is what I got from insiders. Erin OToole clearly gone. Now, legally, everybody, Erin OToole has the power. He holds the cards legally in the party to say no, to hell with all of you. He won't do it. He won't do it. He's been fully reimbursed. He's made a lot of money in this last little bit of time. His counterparts who ran against him in the election, not so well faring. Regardless, doesn't matter. Don't get your britches in a bunch trying to bail everybody out. It's just more conning from the first class who enjoys all the perks of capitalism and extreme socialism for them against all of you. And you run out and you'll give money. What it spells is unity for the party. I know a lot of you, a lot of my supposed followers, supposed loyal followers, I know you all think he's the great and wonderful Messiah, Pierre Poilievre. But I can tell you, with absolute certainty, as someone inside the CPC, literally inside, regardless if I hold membership or not, I can promise you there are many, many electoral districts, especially in a couple of key city centres, that would love nothing more than to have me working for them. There's even MPs who would love nothing more than to have me working for them. I won't do it. Never going to do it. Never going back into the crown system of politics unless I'm running a party for all of you, which is the plan. What's going to happen in the path forward? Carbon tax is going to remain regardless of Pierre Poilievre and the new direction that party is going to try and push forward. I have absolutely everything by Pierre Poilievre in writing of what he's going to do. Alberta, your oil prices are up. Great news, right? Conservatives really do well in Canada with the East when they promise all kinds of wealth transfer out of you. You're not getting out of your deficit. There is no premier capable in the situation you're in of bringing you out of the deficit you're in. Absolutely going forward in that narrative should Pierre Poilievre. Privy Council under Harper with Michelle Rempel, names you all know, Erin OToole, Jason Kenney is Pierre Poilievre. Insider, absolutely privy as Privy Council to always, he's shadow right now, but he's lifetime appointed. You're only trading one monster for another one. Just more Canadians fall for Pierre Poilievre's absolute horseshit. I can say this in all terms. You're not going to get a single fix. And unfortunately, mass majority, millions of Canadians, millions of people with the convoy, millions of those who say they support Maxime Bernier will run right into a Pierre Poilievre, uniting the party, somewhat crippling Maxime Bernier and his People's Party of Canada. However, Maxime Bernier is also a lifetime Privy Council member from the same circle. In fact, the same registered legal board as the CPC is the same legal registered board of the PCC. When I say that, I mean the founding membership, the actual legal one. Like all of you who've met me across Canada, and I pull out the legal forms. I know none of you have ever seen that with PPC, so don't even try, because I already know the truth. I've been in politics. I was a leader of a party in a majority. I had access to all of that. I even have a very good friend who was the federal leader of a party who had access to all of that. That's the insider's edge when you go into the Crown system. Now, are guys like me allowed in there? No, not unless I swear I did something no third-class Canadian has ever done in the history of Canada. I built a party. I ran in majority. I did the impossible. They said it was impossible. I proved in Canada it is possible. I would like to do that federally. But get ready. As over 1.5 million new housing projects throughout Canada, not in Western Canada. That wealth transfer pot in the middle, published, accurate, comes from Alberta, and in your great revenues received, Canada's taking it all. The federal government's taking it all. Currently, right now, Justin Trudeau's doing it. And as promised now under Pierre Poilievre, he's going to double how much subsidized housing for Toronto and absolutely Montreal, all at the great expense of the resource-rich Alberta, leaving you nothing to pay off your debts and deficits, leaving very little of anything at all. Much of rural Alberta has been stripped of its promised royalties and deals with the oil companies. All those rural farmers, all those rural towns are now on the hook. They've had to jack up everybody's property taxes to fill the hole. Can you imagine that, ladies and gentlemen? Imagine having a bunch of farming land, allowing oil developers to put pump jacks. They were honest with you, they paid you, they credited you, and then to turn around and have the government say, we are cancelling that entirety. All the money's going east. Sorry about your losses there, folks. Welcome to Crown customary law. It's not going to get any better. Taxes are going up. I'm going to talk about convoy. Everybody going, oh, this is great. This is wonderful. Healthcare costs to go through the roof. I have all the layout. When that majority comes forward in endemic, and it is coming, the narrative from NDP is everybody's the same, vaccinated or not. We just accept those costs. We expand healthcare. Everybody owes, everybody pays. Regardless of your health status, regardless of what choices you make, everybody pays the same. For me, I'm a working citizen. I'm right on the brunt of it. I'm still in my working years. It would be insane to remain in Canada going forward. I will pursue for absolutely dual citizenship. I'm going through that process now and over the next 6 months. I will finish the party, but I will do it from the comfort and security of the United States of America, go through their system, because at least there I can predict my tax structure going forward, even in a current Joe Biden administration that I don't think is going to make it. Their faulty ambitions are clearly coming to light, and America's not going to bite into it. They are a federalist system too. There's not very many in this world, as I've disclosed to people. I wrote a tremendous paper. I'm invited in a winter seminary here in these next 2 months. I'm going to be going through a seminary with the best minds in Europe on federalism. I'm invited to that table. I'm from a federalist country. However, everybody, there's no regional constitutions, zero whatsoever. All of our provincial leaders, as you're seeing in COVID, Nova Scotia rules its own way forward, restricting citizens in grand overreach. crazy, literally crazy agendas, ideas. We see the monster Jason Kenney make it so that there is no such thing in the province of Alberta, any meaningful protests going forward. Should you do it, you will get the wall of police. So everybody, Coots Alberta, cameras still up. They're going through it. Pierre Poilievre is not going to make any difference. The problem is PPC and the Conservatives in large are all gravitating to Pierre Poilievre, even though he's just a different version of Erin OToole, Stephen Harper, Jason Kenney, Michelle Rempel, and many more. They all have one agenda. It's defined right there at Parliament where the convoy is. Go look just down from the Supreme Court of Canada at the Privy Council itself. You will see that building. It's in Latin, but that is absolutely the first building down from the courthouse. That smaller building higher up on the hill, that is where the Crown Customary Law is. That's where the ruling party operates, and all lifetime Privy Council members outside of your democracy. This is where everything, when I say customary, it means where they talk, they legislate, they put things in writing, but it's not for any of you. It's outside of democracy. That's how Canada runs. Provinces have no constitutions, no rules of governance. All the dictatorships you're seeing come absolutely from the provinces, as many have learned, even in these convoys that I don't necessarily agree with. I definitely don't on vaccines. I've seen all the data. I'm going with Operation Warp Speed. Erin OToole is out officially. He has the power to say screw that. It would destroy the Conservative Party. It's likely Erin OToole is going to resign, and it's going to be Pierre Poilievre, up and runner, who's likely to be appointed. Pierre Poilievre talks a bullshit game. What he's put in writing is Justin Trudeau 2.0. Great if you're in the GTA, great if you're in Quebec, Montreal area, it's great. The Conservatives will win a lot of votes because they're doubling down on Justin Trudeau. Subsidized housing, absolutely at the expense of the taxpayer and all of the third class and second class businesses. Now, a lot of people, that's the big bulk of populations. For example, the GTA can outvote Alberta any day of the week, no problem. Any day of the week, just the GTA alone. Goodbye, Alberta, the province. You don't have a say. And they will vote in absolute majority in all the regions around. You're looking at a lot of seats that would vote for that. An expansion of liberalization, of wealth transfer. The costs are astronomical for the West, for the oil industry that's going to be crushed. And it's... That's reality. There is no good news to share here. And what's sad is just how many people are going to believe that everything Pierre Poilievre says is not what he has in writing. They're going to believe what he says. But we all know any average intelligence person or anybody who's at least gone through corporate law, you're going to know that on the civil side of remedy in business and in our personal life under the common law, no judge ever rules for what someone said. They rule for what's in writing and signed off by that person. Pierre Poilievre is just going to be more of the same. Unfortunately, this video is not going to go viral. It's not going to get shared out. People are going to do what they did many years ago and they continue to do all the time. It's not true. I can continue forward. Your lives are going to get increasingly difficult. Tax increases coming, whether you're liberal, NDP, conservative. Don't believe any of them. Massive taxes are coming forward. You can borrow a mass amount of money, get better, favorable, long-term financing. But at the end of the day, Canadians, those bills have to be paid off. Or like you all know, when you have a massive outstanding loan, you have to make principal payments. And you can do, governments can fool you and say, hey, we're just making interest-only payments, don't worry. The debt never goes away, the principal remains. and you're always a slave to debt for the rest of your life. It's not Canadians doing it in large, it's the government. The worst spender is your overweight, absolutely massive, huge government. CPC is going to roll all this out. There's going to be fighting for official leadership and all that. Canadians will roll out the cash. You'll donate, much larger than the convoy, and people will go forward. Is Canada coming out of COVID-19? I hope so. It looks like they have to. I mean, it's endemic, clearly all over the world. Everything I've read. I know the power of vaccines for myself. And you know what? I love the United States of America. By a large margin, the individuals responsible for their health choices in the United States of America, as SCOTUS backs up, hey, go ahead, get vaccinated, don't get vaccinated, trust health, don't trust health. But at the end of the day, your choice comes at an absolute cost to you. In large margin, not all of it. There is some socialism there, I'm not going to lie. But you know what? It's a heck of a lot less than what faces me going forward in what clearly Conservatives, NDP, Liberal wish to do to bolster our health system, which means taxes, taxes, taxes. There's no anyone's idea that there will be any kind of accountability. The left wants more restrictions by combining vaccination status, unvaccinated status. They're even changing outside of manufacturers. I can tell you clearly today, an international friend of mine, Canadian, who goes all over the world, is now being mandated to be boosted to remain employed every 3 months, totally against what the manufacturer states. Being forced to, or you don't have a job anymore. This is outside of Canada, ladies and gentlemen. We are dealing with multinational companies and companies that are American, Chinese, Russian. It goes on and on. You pick a country. I only tell you what the world is. I only tell you what the world is. Government will capitulate. They always do. But it's always at only and absolutely the expense of the working class and the domestic businesses. There are only enough lifeboats in this constitutional monarchy for absolutely the ballooning first class that only grows the older we get as a country. You watch it in your deficits and debts. Election, next party, next, and it's exponential growth in how much bloat and weight and cost of every budget continues to go on. And everybody blames globalists, big multinational companies, agendas, organizations, everybody except absolutely the politicians who craft all your laws, run you in all international cooperations, in law, how you're governed, the rules of governance, and absolutely the lack of accountability only comes from one source: your federal and provincial politicians. That's all there is. That's all there is. I can talk for hours and hours, which I have. I've made umpteen videos about it. Canadians don't care. They like the whip. They like the whip. They're institutionalized. Many, and it's left, right? It don't matter. It's exactly what Ronald Reagan, Richard Nixon, and even John Fitzgerald Kennedy said in the early 60s, as you see old Reagan going up into the 70s. Richard Nixon was all about it too. Majorities. Reagan won a massive majority. Richard Nixon won a massive majority. Focusing on the truth, putting America first, following the Constitution. That's what they did. And people can hate it, love it, whatever you feel. They stayed in a true narrative for the people, and it led them to victory. I would love to repeat that in Canada for all Canadians, but as long as people keep blaming everybody else out there in this vast world, all the corruption of billionaires and multilateral organizations, and they focus NWO as somehow It's all these other people. When who makes your laws? Who allows you to operate in this society? Who makes that happen for you? Well, that's your politicians. Everything that happens to you as a Canadian happens from the federal and provincial governments under division of powers. There is nothing else. Nothing else. If you don't like how the world's operating, where we're going with the world, you can absolutely blame all your politicians. Because if you really look at it, it is their pockets that are growing at absolute exponential rates, and all of their first class crown sworn special interests attached to them, who are the only ones who do well in this country, predictably do well without really having to be accountable again or follow any real rules of governance. They stay in that customary system, and everything's given to them. A divine socialism for that elite class, the best of socialism with all the perks of capitalism, while the rest of you remain down in the dumps with all the negatives of capitalism. You'll see the left parties use that to narrate, to twist you into the wrong direction. Because heaven forbid any of you go with what's supposed to be promised in this world under the UN Charter 1945. Heaven forbid you ever wake up to that and hold your politicians to account. Never going to happen. Cameras still off, live feeds cut down in Coutts, Alberta. There's one highway cam that looks crystal clear. There's been a massive amount of arrests. I saw the wall of police, but that's Canadian media. I know for a fact, as I look through those cameras in the UNSC as it really is, I went through KTLA. They gave me access. I looked at all of their footage, and then it's cut. So the USA is cut too, everybody. USMCA, not against the Crown. Who has full absolute control? Who will waste all kinds of money, piss off as many American firms as possible? Your government. There is no government that's forcing your government to do anything. Your government does everything it's legally allowed to do. And in the provinces, all provinces and territories under Section 92, there are zero rules of governance, no constitutions, none whatsoever. It's been called for from 1867. No Canadian thinks it's a good idea. Your politicians can make any kind of emergency order, craft any kind of, in the name of anything, as long as you let it. And you do. Canadians do. Each and every region does. Justin Trudeau loves it. He wants a unitary system under the Crown. He's basically got it through customary law. Nobody you bring forward from CPC is going to fix this. I can already see the writings on the wall. I know the heartbeat of the Canadian citizen. Groves of Conservatives will flock together for Pierre Poilievre. That's where Canada's going. Get ready for massive taxes. No reduction in your inflationary moves. What's going to be reduced? Your wages, as your cost of living continually expands. Get ready for $2 a litre, all of it, as was stated years and years ago. We are literally 6 months away from all of these realities where people are just going to go, I can't afford to live. If you haven't seen the old couple in Toronto, for the small little housing deal they got, it's just 2 levels. They got a little family room, a small kitchen, and 1 bedroom upstairs. In Toronto, $550,000. That's where they retired. Right at main level, a small corner of a block. $550,000. They can make all the subsidized housing they want. Canadians, you ready for this? Okay, we make 1 million units. Takes about 5-6 years. Gives a boost and a boom for Toronto, Montreal. I mean, you've already won half the country's electorate, whichever party. And Conservatives under Pierre Poilievre have doubled down on that. So take from everybody, put it into these center hubs, like a unitary state called Canada, not a federalism with a division of powers of the provinces, because the premiers are all paid off. They'll take it. Atlantic premiers have been taking it, screwing over Atlanteans forever and a day. Look at Newfoundland, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, PEI. Crippled in a welfare state system. The West is crumbling. Alberta's nearly finished. There's a level of debt. We're almost there. There's some high hopes for a new premier, but I think that bubble's bursted. Canadians have to wait until they're taxed to excruciating levels and there's a mass poverty. And you watch, with 1 million housing, takes 5 years. What do you do with an immigration rate of 430,000 a year? Year after year, do the math. Does 1 million houses, double Trudeau, that's Pierre Poilievre, is that going to be a drop in the bucket in 5 years' time when those houses come out? When you've already taken in literally 2.5 million newcomers? No. There's no amount of socialism to fix what's coming. It's delusional. Is it all an NWO agenda? Sure. Led by none other than Canada. We had 2 years of a pandemic. Canada holds the record per person per capita for the most immigration completed by any nation in all of the world. Advanced colonialism. No one was vaccinated, whether what you want to believe or not. These people came in unvaccinated. Large. Half of them absolutely unvaccinated while they mandated all of you. There was never a word from a conservative, not a liberal, not an NDP. This was all kept from you. All kept from you. Maxime Bernier didn't want to do the work. I did the work. That's the truth, whether people want to like it or not. In the years to come, these things will come out as you watch your country start to close in on you. They lie on the UN, contrary to popular belief. I have a teacher asking me about, what about this org, that org, and a lot of you with your stats. Here's a real stat for you, and base your stats. If you don't think this is fundamental, density. Canada has never in its entirety told the truth about the real density of the nation in all reporting. When you look at UNESCO and the WHO, there are 15 different certified organizations in this world today. Many of them you guys have never even heard of, and don't tell me you have. I know all of them. Then there's 8 more sub. Those are in the binding organs in this world that are not going anywhere. Are there bad people attached to that, bad countries? Absolutely. I'm the first to tell you that. But how they work and get involved in your country is 100 million % at only, and I repeat only, the privy of your politicians you elect. How they legally operate there is no USA, Russia, or all these vast countries dictating that. Your politicians chose behind your back in customary law. And again, I'm going to tell you, everybody, on top of Parliament Hill, just down from the Supreme Court of Canada, if you haven't looked at the fraud stone with Queen Elizabeth's initials donated to her father, look at the year the Supreme Court was built. She was not Queen of Canada. She wasn't Queen of Canada until 1952. That was chiseled after the first fraud, clearly evident for all of you protesting in Ottawa. You can go look at it. It's on the far right side, facing the Supreme Court. You'll find a small stone, and I can promise you the court was up and running in 1946 to 1952. That stone was chiseled after. That building was already built. This is real, true, credible, verifiable. I broke this 6 months ago. Nobody cared. You don't care that you're in a crown monarchy with a king's court. And if you don't understand what that means, it means no independent judiciary. Highest court of your land belongs to whomever you've elected prime minister with an override from governor general. This same legal system applies to every province and territory at the Superior Court level. The proof is there. It's right on the stone at the Supreme Court. You all can look up. Queen Elizabeth did not ascend till her father died in 1952. How could a stone that was put there, the building was assembled in operation from 1946 to 1952, have a donated stone from Queen Elizabeth? It's not possible. Your government chiseled that in after the fact, over top of King George VI stone, which abolishes any crown king's court. He abolished it. He made a deal with the former Soviet Union, Joseph Stalin, Sir Winston Churchill of the UK, and absolutely Teddy Roosevelt, at the time President of the United States of America, promising America first, all Democrats and Republicans alike, that that's how the world would run. Canada lasted a total of 6 years in only an independent judiciary from that time. And upon his death, Queen Elizabeth ascended, and all was forgotten. Canada stole the crown, chiseled that in, giving Queen Elizabeth her rights that were to be abolished in this world. Supposedly abolished for the Allies, but continues today. We now have a new Atlantic Charter by one Joe Biden and Boris Johnson, removing all of it. We have all the historic documents. They're not going anywhere. Republican or Democrat alike, and actually a majority Democrats in the academic world of the United States, realize this. They know the truth. Not good for Joe Biden. Everybody. Everything that happens to you is done by nobody else but your elected and appointed politicians. It's even worse for that Privy Council, that building on top of Parliament Hill, the one closest to the Supreme Court. In Latin, that's where they are. That's where all the real laws are made, in absolute abstention from any democracy whatsoever. And none of the publications inside that building come out for any of you. That's called Crown Customary Law. That's how your country really runs. And every province does the same thing, and it's even worse for provinces and territories. Federalism is the way to go for big countries. It's worked well for the United States. It's worked well from Russia. It is the best model in the world today, except for when you throw in Crown Customary Law, because it absolutely usurps all of it. All of it. And that Governor General and the Lieutenant Governors of the province ensure that your unaccountable, absolute autocrat premiers can do anything they want as long as they appease the Prime Minister. That's not true federalism. That is not the United States of America. It isn't even Russia. This is why I must do my work now from the outside. I can't be in Canada underneath the thumb of the oppressor trying to defeat the oppressor. It's why I must go, and it's why I'm going forward with my life over the next 6 months. There's a lot more I'm not going to publish. It's been, I would say, an awful week, and I could say a lot about it, but I won't. I'm going to leave it at that. But we're a broken country. We have a broken narrative going forward. There is no trucking convoy for freedoms. There's a narrative from the left and an extreme right who've come together. Because if you go so far to the right, you find a left, and vice versa. These are your Nazi Germanys, your radical socialist agendas and absolute dictatorships that you see throughout the world. Venezuela, a very current, real one. That is definitely possible with Canada, because we are defined constitutionally exactly as was Nazi Germany and other regimes alive and well today that the world's battling. That's what's in store for Canada. High taxes, extreme socialism. You're already there at $10 a day daycare. You're already there. Soon it'll be guaranteed basic income. Soon it will be free pharma. And everybody who works for that. Oh, don't worry, the government believes that the generations, like that old couple, will get used to living in small, little, closed quarters in cities. You'll all get used to it. And those who don't like it today, don't worry, we're going to program your children into it. Some countries get away with it. They go for a very, very, very long time. But at the end of the day, when the forced labor is absolute, when they got to start saying, listen, we know you went to school, you should be a lawyer, but we need ditch diggers. We need people to build in the sewers and roll in the shit for little money. You say, well, I'm not doing that. That's not worth my time for the money. You'll do it, or we'll put a bullet in you, or we'll take away all your rights, or your mother will be removed from her health services. And people will do it. If you don't believe me, there's a pile of testimonies from a pile of countries. It will tell you this is how it goes. Soviet Union communism didn't work. It's one of the newer ones. Constitutional monarchies don't work either. Now for UK, sure, when you have full control over 85 commonwealths and you're making all the money and you have all the finance attached to it, you're making a whole lot of money for nothing. It's very lucrative for the UK. But what about all the other nations? Barbados is running away. They still await their constitution. It's taking some time, but good things come to those who wait. That's my video, everybody. Breaking: Erin OToole officially terminated. Pierre Poilievre is up next, at least in the interim. Where will Canadians go? Bamboozled, bamboozled, bamboozled. I can't stick around in whopping tax rates or absolute destruction of my children's future. To save this country and finish the work I'm doing, I'm going to have to do it unimpeded in a neutral territory. And I will get American citizenship. That's going to be my fight to get that done. And I'm working hard on it, and that's where I'm going. Love you all. I wish I had better news. This is the truth. You choose to share it, or you choose not to. That's it. Going forward with all First Nations work, very limited lives. I will only do lives if it's huge, huge breaking news, as this is. And you will find out coming hours what I told you here is 100% true. Bye now.